lost so many uh, loved ones and, people we knew. And this one is just can't really, what is, it's very difficult to put it in words, really.
We have put this stream into live into Facebook, and we are we'll just wait for a few more minutes to start it formally.
Yeah.
And because I can see that people have started joining.
Excuse me.
You remember this photo? When was it taken?
This is Chittagong.
This is Chittagong, yeah.
I think so. This is Chittagong on the boat ride.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
The other day I was recalling his fondness for pineapples. There were two trips to Sri Lanka where DKD was completely focused on consuming as many pineapples, and I think he also brought them back, if I remember correctly, because he wanted to get those pineapples. So and then this other one where I remember he sprained his foot and it became quite serious. And I was there with him because he took me to stage on that song, wo kya tha, Bidi lagai le. This was in Sri Lanka again.
That was in Sri Lanka.
It was in Sri Lanka, and there was, and that year we had a wonderful 3-day retreat, and he couldn't leave the bus. He was throughout those 2 days, he was in the van, and he was the most angry and frustrated and angry at himself also. So, yeah, that was Sri Lanka.
That was 2007.
That was 2007, yeah.
And we were in that Golf Face Hotel.
Yeah, Golf Face.
Yes.
Yeah. What a beautiful place that was. I see Homagni also joined.
Hi, Durab sir.
Hi, Homagni.
Hi, Mihir sir.
Hello, hello.
I mean, DKD after every second or third conversation used to mention Homagni in some context, one or the other.
Yeah.
I think we can start, though I know that people will be starting joining. So let me close this sharing. Anjun?
করছি স্যার। অফ হচ্ছে না কেন?
I don't know how I start this session. I'm quite sure that over the next uh, session, actually during this session, it's going to be the most difficult time for me to actually conduct this session on behalf of Sesam family. We lost a friend. I personally lost my brother and my mentor too. And I know that many of you did the same. So today we have gathered here to remember our friend, DKD, Professor Kusum. We have so many memories, and actually I'm quite sure that before I get emotional or before I become unable to control myself, I should hand over my microphone to someone else. But DKD was the true South Asian person, and I'm quite sure each of us would agree to that. He was a true South Asian. He believed in South Asia, and the way Sesam for the last more than 1.5 decades, South Asian economic students meet. It got momentum. Almost every year, Sesam was organized and hosted in different cities of South Asian countries. DKD came up with a new idea, this group research project, and we were actually working on that. We finished the first episode. We are getting into the next episode. And beyond that, he was such a genuine person, a genuine human being. So many qualities, actually, I learned personally from him. I think it's not something, and I was actually sharing this with Tura when we had these WhatsApp exchanges. We have a Sesam core group, and this core group is actually created by DKD. So we are having these exchanges, and Tura was writing something, and I was telling Tura that actually I'm not being able to write something now because I don't know, whenever I think about DKD or my Debuda, I call him Debuda, I think my hands become tied. I can't write anything. I can't even, when I try to say something, I don't know. I'm very much unable to say something. So, and then I told Turab that, and Turab immediately responded, and all the core members that, I told that, let's meet. Let's actually meet and let's share our feelings. Because we need to sit together, and it's such a difficult time for all of us that without even talking to you, I think I was carrying a huge stone on my shoulder, or it was just very much unable to even share my feelings with even my family members. So I'm thankful to each of you, and on behalf of Sesam family, you are all part of Sesam family. That within a very short notice, we have been able to assemble here, and we'd like to actually hear from almost each of you, those who want to speak, and please do so. We'd like to organize this session in a way so that each of us can get some opportunities to talk if they want to. Sanem is actually having a live streaming of this event on the Facebook. So if you'd really like to share that live streaming, please do so. I have already shared mine on my Facebook wall, and some of you have already done so. And I'm requesting my colleagues at Sanem to help me, to conduct this session when we, as we make progress. I'm really glad to see some of the very known faces, and at the same time, Professor Kausik Bosu and his wife is here with us. Of course, Sanjay Khaturiya and some other friends are also with us. Those who have been with us, have been with DKD for years. With this, I would like to request first Mihir to say a few words, and then probably the way it is. There is no formal process, but please, Mihir, we start with you. Mihir, you have to unmute, please.
Yeah. There's so many memories of Dev Kusum. Dev Kusum or Dev or DKD. We used to call him one of these, any one of these. But he was DKD for a very long time now to us, to the students. And my memories go back to, I think I knew him from when he was in MA in D school. That was 84, 86. He was doing MA and I was already teaching in Ramjas at that time, but I was also doing MPhil in D school. And we knew, well, I didn't know him personally then, but he was there all the time. I used to be there all the time. And then he joined Ramjas in 1986. And as a young faculty member, I was already there for 3 or 4 years. But being roughly, I mean, we are contemporaries. We used to work together all the time for the department, teaching for the other activities. And as we all know, Deep Kusum always came up with brilliant ideas. He used to organize different activities. We were junior people at that time, but slowly we started doing things. And I think when I was in the USA, I was in the US early 90s doing a PhD. And he started the conferences, the annual conference, the student conference that Ramjas still has. It's now known as the annual winter conference. And it was really successful because DKD had a knack of working with students, bringing students all together who used to literally worship him. And he used to give them all the space. They used to come up with ideas and he used to work with them. And so it was in that thing that when I came back from the US, I also got involved with everything that they were doing. And as it happens, again, I was in the US in the summer of 2003 when I got an email from him saying that we've had this conference for a long time. Why don't we now open it up to all the South Asian students? And he said, and he had just come back from Pakistan. He had gone to LUMS where Kaushik Basu was also there. And the two of them had been talking about it because the students there were so enthusiastic and they took both of them everywhere with all their hospitality. And which we all later on, we've seen the hospitality of the different students from all the other South Asian countries everywhere. But this is what I think DKD and Kaushik were talking about it. And then when DKD came back, he started putting it into practice. He talked to the other students. I think a lot of them who are here, Homagni, Dipankar, Konachi, I think some of the others are not here, Anirban, quite a few of them. And they all started working on it. And he wrote to me, said, let's do it. I said, of course, let's do it. And when we came back, we started working on it. They already had a framework. It was really tough to get funding. We had everything in place, but we didn't know how it will work. But DKD had already contacted University of Colombo Dhaka University. Um, and of course, LUMS was already there. And so he, through his contacts, got everyone together. We put up everything together and then went around getting funding. And we were very lucky to just able to cobble together enough funds to have a really modest season, modest from the standards that we have now, because it's really grown big. But we started small. But it happened. And I think, as I'll say, the rest is history. Because since that time, every year we've got together, worked together. We've DKD always worked for this idea of South Asia. And as soon as one season would finish, he would start thinking about the next one. And he would start sending us emails, sending everyone emails. Let's work on the themes, let's work on let's work on the modalities, the funding. And he was always there. And of course, when we had it in India, then he used to be working all the time for that. And we used to divide the work together. I used to handle some things, but DKD always handled, and he was really good at fundraising. He used to be able, through his contacts, to talk to people and get people together and coordinate everything and get the students there. So that was one of his outstanding qualities. He used to, I think nobody who's met him did not get infected by his enthusiasm, by his ideas. And we would all just go along with him because he really had that ability to bring everything together and work with people. And he was such a people's man. And that's really something which we'll all miss. And of course, for SESM, I think he's been one of the prime movers of SESM all these years. And it's been a big loss for all of us. And as Salim says, and also, he was like a brother. I mean, we were there in college, we were there with SESM throughout all these years. Families knew each other. We used to talk about everything. And he and Shoma and the kids know Vinita and my children. And we all used to be there for each other all the time. And all I can say is we'll really miss him. I think
Thank you, Mihir. We miss him, it's beyond, anything, we can't express our feelings, definitely. It's insufficient words we have to express our feelings and how much we miss him. Sesam, the way he started, and of course, Mihir, you with him, and now it has taken a shape, and it is our responsibility now to carry it forward, of course. And at the very beginning of its formation, and also the way it started, Turab, you played a very important role from Pakistan. So Turab, please, over to you.
So Salim and Meher and friends who are gathered here, all of you are perhaps going through the same feelings. I mean, first of all, it's so difficult to accept the fact that he's not there with us. I can just see him. I can just imagine him so clearly on the screen, sitting where Shoma is sitting. It's, just to accept the fact that he's not anymore and we're not going to be able to see him is very, very difficult. I have known him for a long time, since the start of SESM, almost 2003, 2004. And it's turned out to be a most beautiful, wonderful journey, really. And as Meher just put it, we became like a family, so close. Our children, our spouses, they got to know one another. It's been a wonderful, beautiful journey, a South Asian journey. And I think we have to admit that the person who was behind it, who persevered, I think, even during the toughest of times, which we're going through currently, was Dev Kusum. He had, number one, infectious enthusiasm, as Meher put it, but this tremendous resilience, to just keep on going, and also energy. I mean, I don't know how many things he used to be doing at one time. Just recently, the three things which were going on. We had the research projects. The second one, the joint South Asian research project was going on. Then SESM planning was going on. And then the newsletter was going on. And DKD was literally taking care of all three. And it was just amazing how he could do that. And he used to push us. Sometimes he used to get delayed, we procrastinate, got busy in others, but he was the force behind it, really. So that incredible enthusiasm is clearly, and one has to remember that Dev Kasam was an extremely humble person. I mean, it was not for any personal gain or whatever sense of pride. It was just purely for the fact that he loved this concept of getting South Asian students together, the younger generation together, breaking the boundaries and breaking those stereotypes and visiting every year a different capital. And I was just talking to Meher the other day, I was chatting, and I thought, this is one thing I so miss the fact that whenever we used to go to a place, I used to look forward to meeting him, and, his warm hug and that smile on his face, that beaming face of his, I mean, he was a beautiful person inside and outside. I mean, and in one word, in his sort of, which could encapsulate what he was to his students and to his friends, he was like a brother. But I think a lot of students would get it in the traditional sense of the word. He was a true ustad. Those selfless ustads or teachers, those gurus which are there. I mean, he had such an impact on students. Students who he taught at LUMS, he taught, I think it was 2006 summer one course, and they were writing to me saying that we can never forget that microeconomics class, and he became friends with them. Now, people spend their lifetime teaching and they don't have that kind of association which TKD was able to get in a matter of just one course. As Salim said, it took one or two meetings and you realize that here's a very different sort of a human being. I mean, such human beings are very hard to find out these days in the world. Selfless human beings, humble human beings who do great things, but then maintain their humility. So I think one of the most beautiful human beings we had the really, it's a God-given friendship, and we should be proud and happy that we had the opportunity to have somebody like DKD in our lives, really. So it was a gift, really, to us, his friendship and his presence. So I'm sure there are a lot of people who want to say things. I've got so many memories, and I'll just stop here. But it's heartbreaking just talking about it.
Thank you, Thurab. May I now move to, I have seen Professor Sirimul Abiratne. Sirimul, you have joined because you are also, yes, Sirimul, please.
Yes, Selim, thanks. Thank you for the invitation. This is very difficult to accept, actually. All of our association, our friendship, and our brotherhood without death, without DKD, because it is even now today, it is very difficult to imagine that we are having this meeting without him, to say the least. I know Deb. That was in 2004 that in Delhi we had the first session, and probably about a year ago or a couple of months ago at least, he has not seen me, he wrote to me. He had come to know me through another one of my teachers, Professor Atukorala, Premachand Atukorala from Australian National University. So DKD has been there too, sometimes back, together with Professor Atukorala, Sri Lankan economist. And so he has come to know me through him. So he wrote to me saying that, send me an email saying that we are going to initiate this session, what we call today. And please join with us. And that's how I came to know him. And after I came with our students and also with my professor here, Professor Lakshman, he also joined for that trip. And we met there for the first time, and also some of you, including Mihir and Turab also. And I guess that Selim, I have met you even before that because you have been a frequent visitor to Colombo, apart from Sesam. So that's how we started. So it's a long history, and I have seen that, we all know that how difficult it is in South Asia to run a program like this without a break, continuously for 15, 16 years. But we did that. And how we did that, it was because of, as you all mentioned, DKD's, he shouldered it as his personal thing and he moved it forward. Without him, I think we would have failed in this endeavor. So to tribute to him, I think it is our duty, and also those who join later, and it is their duty because we have to create the leaders for the future as well, to take this session forward. And that will be because we will not be staying in the universities forever. And my departure from Colombo University is coming next year. So that, so likewise, some others may be leaving the university, so that it is better to transfer that responsibility to the other younger generations, and then take this system forward, so that one day it will be a pillar of this South Asian integration. And with that, I like to conclude, because there may be so many others who want to express their views and ideas. Thank you so much, and God bless Kusum, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you, Srimal. I know Vishwamar Pakral. Actually, Sesam, when it was started, initially Nepal was not there. But I remember one day, one morning in Dhaka, where Deacon and I actually went to the room of Professor Vishwamar Pakral in Sheraton Hotel. We knocked at the door and actually we had a meeting. Professor Pakral, over to you, the way you actually got to know him. You have to unmute, Professor Pakral. You have to unmute, Professor Pakral.
Yes, Salim, I still remember that evening. It was midnight, around 1 o'clock or 2 p.m. I was on a different mission. I simply had heard something about the lapses that Nepal had that time, because one of the guys representing not my department that time at Kirtipur Tribhuvan University, at one of the campuses of Tribhuvan University. So it was discontinued later on. So it was that time I was in Dhaka on a different mission. So I met both of you. It's almost been 1.5 decades since then. We have sort of given full support and we are engaged fully, and I have prepared young generation. It's been several years now. I have been retired from Tribhuvan University. I run my own think tank, as you all know, in Kathmandu. But we have very up and coming young associate professors, assistant professors at Tribhuvan University, Kirtipur Central Department. So I'm hopeful they will bring DKD's dream make true. So, I remember someone saying death ends a life. not a relationship. So we miss Dev Kusumdas so badly. But we have his thoughts with us. Today, the way we are gathering is just to show our grief, which was needed on the sudden demise of our beloved friend. He used to tell me, Dada, he's my younger brother. He is the founding member of SEJAM. I'm happy to recall that. It was just terrible to hear the news from Meher a couple of days ago. I was in Seattle that time. I offer my thoughts, my prayers, and well wishes to South Asia's star economist. I would say, Professor DKD's family, especially his wife, Soma, and children. He used to show me the pictures of his children. He did that several times. He really loved them so much. I trust our collective condolences bring the family some level of comfort, and our prayers ease the pain of his loss. Meher is there to listen to families, what the way the families would react. But of course, we are with Meher and DKD's family. This is a dark moment in Sesam's history. My heart goes out to him and to everyone who loved him. Uh, this is such a huge loss. We love you, DKD, and are here for you. May God provide you eternal peace. DKD will continue to participate in every act, thought, and decision we make. As Turab said, sometimes we feel like, when our old faces meet together, we expect decade to come on the front. So uh, we love DKD. His memory lives an indelible imprint in our memories. It can never go away. So with these words, I think there must be several other people as well. So we should plan. I'm intending to return back to Nepal by the second week, hopefully second week of January. But in the meantime, whichever way you would like Nepal to get involved, now we'll have to have a special uh, event in memory of DKD as well. So governing council can have a separate, Zoom meeting in near future. So I hope all of us will cooperate in this, and then go ahead, keep the work moving. With this word, I stop here.
Thank you, Professor Pakrel. I know that many of you really would like to talk, but I'm just checking with Professor Kaushik Bosu that whether if you would like to say now or would like to wait. So,
I wouldn't mind Salim saying a few things. I do want to listen to others, so I could jump in. It's absolutely shocking news when I got it of the Kusum's passing. Very difficult for Alka and me to take it. In fact, 3 days before that, I had a message from Dev Kusum talking about Bangladesh's 50 years. He was doing something, and I just literally could not believe, because the message came that about DKD, and I called him Dev Kusum throughout, and I had to check who DKD was when the news came that this had happened. And I have to say that for us, the memories are very personal, because Shoma and Dev Kusum were our neighbors in Delhi when we lived in Delhi, literally in the adjacent complex. So we would meet as family with the children. So it was a very, very close association. But of course, it goes back much further for me because he was one of my students. He did not work directly with me. He worked with K.L. Krishna, but he was one of my students. But let me say a few things about SESAM. Seeing all of you here, Salim, you, Turab, Mihir, many others, memory really goes back to the SESAM initiative. And what an amazing achievement SESAM is every time I think about it. You know, I played a very minor role. I was there in Lahore in 2003 for the Econometric Society meetings. And Deb Kusum and I, and it was a very, very memorable trip, walking in the streets of Lahore, going in. And Deb Kusum, because of his very natural love of life, or had done his homework. This is the by lane where you get a special kebab. This is the by lane where you get lassi. And with the students of Lahore University and professors, we walked around and it was a wonderful time. We came back and Deb Kusum came and told me that he's thinking of this initiative of students of South Asia getting together once a year. And true that I myself am quite ambitious. When I think of things, exciting ideas, I feel it's worthwhile doing. I told Deb Kusum it is worthwhile, but I never thought it would be possible. These are countries that have been in war, there have been fractures, we are neighbors, but we also fight, we have lots of problems. To get through all that, to raise funds, to start up something like SESAM, I thought is impossible, won't happen. But I had given Deb Kusum an example, which is a remarkable example, and I want to bring it up because it is a celebrated global example. This is called the Niels Bohr Initiative, after the physicist Niels Bohr. Niels Bohr had hatched a plan that during the time of Cold War, the scientists of Russia, United States, and other developing countries should get together and have meetings and initiatives like friends, like in a collective mission for the greater long-run good of the countries. And I had been to one Niels Bohr Initiative meeting in Copenhagen as an outsider to see these Russian and American scientists mainly getting together. And I had told Deb Kusum about that, and then Deb Kusum struggled away. And SESAM was formed and took off in a way that I would have given up. I wouldn't have tried. And it's a remarkable effort. So my connection with SESAM had been marginal since then, but memories go back to that 2003. There was Ali Chima, there was Faisal Bari in Lahore, and there were people in India, Bangladesh. Soon Nepal would be active, Sri Lanka would be active. And in later meetings, students from Afghanistan, very, very difficult being brought in for this initiative, was every time you pause and think, an absolutely remarkable achievement. And Deb Kusum achieved this in his very simple way. His personality, his self was unimportant. He had a natural warmth about human beings. He enjoyed meeting human beings, getting together, and that was the selflessness for him. It was the idea of SESAM, bringing people together from this region. And the self was a person who would work away and do it. So just stunning memories. I think this is a remarkable achievement, what you people are doing. My involvement has been very tangential, but I do want to remain engaged. So again, there are others involved, but to the speakers who spoke just now and the speakers who will speak, please keep this up. A lot of good, long-run good for society could come out of an initiative of like this. Shoma and the children, as soon as we are back in Delhi, we would love to meet you again. Keep up the spirit, really. This is a greater ambition. We all wish Deb Kusum, wherever he is, that he be happy and peaceful, and we must continue with this big effort. Thank you very much again, Salim, Mihir, for organizing this. There must be others organizing this for doing this. Let me sit back and listen. Do you want to say anything? No. Yeah.
Thank you, Professor Basu. Does Madam want to say something?
Well, nothing really, except to say that I have spent 4 months in India lockdown last year, And it was a time when we were going through a difficult time. I was with my mother who wasn't well, and Kaushik wasn't there. I was in Delhi. And I spoke to Dev Kusum quite frequently at that time, available for any help that we needed. But he also had funny stories to tell about the lockdown. So maybe I'll just mention one little story where he was talking about getting worried about getting infected. And so everyone was being very careful. And he was telling me how he had gone to get groceries that day, the day he called at night. And a rickshawala kept trying to trouble him, saying that I don't have work, please let me take you home. He said, finally, I realized this is the only thing I could. I said, don't take me home, you take my groceries home. So he put his groceries in the rickshaw, and he walked alongside the rickshaw walas, keeping a safe distance from him, and then paid him, came home and paid him for making the groceries his passenger. So it was just very sweet, the kinds of things he did and talked about. And just there are so many memories. And the last time we actually met, Shoma and he had invited us for dinner to his place with several friends, and they were nice enough to invite my mother as well. And she kept talking about that for a long time. She's gone now. She would have been shocked to hear that Dev Kusum is not here. We also remember them buying fish in the same place that we would outside where we lived. And we have lots of funny stories of that time, which I won't repeat.
Yeah.
Thank you, Professor Bosu. Thank you, Madam. Thank you so much. I know that some very close friends of DKD, like Shomojit Bhattacharya, Mita Kumar. So I'd like probably we can start with them first. Shomojit Bhattacharya, Shomoda, if you want to say a few words, then I'll go to Mita Kumar. And then, of course, we know that we have got a second generation of SESAM. So I will then go straight to them. So over to you, Shomoda.
It's very difficult for me to say anything. In this meeting, I think I know him for the longest time, 41 years now. We were together in college. We were close friends and college mates in St. Xavier's, Calcutta. From there, we came to Delhi together. And it's we've literally grown up together. So difficult to share, and so many memories about him. So many stories. And in various things of his life, we were together, very, very thickly together. When this idea of SESAM came up, initially he had told me that this is what he's thinking. Coming back from Pakistan, I'm very excited, and this idea. And because he also had the experience of this All India conference he was doing for students. But as Professor Basu was saying, I still didn't believe it was a great idea, but how will this happen? It is, I think, entirely his belief. In certain sense, he will say, in a very simplistic kind of belief. So why not? Okay, I mean, he looks to often live in this Bollywood world, and those of you who know him closely, it's like almost a belief like that we can do it. Okay, and in things can happen in Bollywood. So and with that kind of belief, because if you are a little bit pragmatic, cynical, this wouldn't have happened. It's a kind of zeal through which, and very just believe that. And not only, I mean, later finance and all that became very big. As you see, the first SESAM and all that were very modest. I still remember in that, what is Karol Bagh Hotel and all, wherever the guests were put up, very, very modest. But, yet it was such a Herculean task even to get those visas, and till particularly going to Pakistan, coming last minute, one will get it. So much tension. So people who do it once and then give up. But how much it has grown from there. Initially start with 4 countries, and then Nepal and Bhutan. Adding that was another difficult thing. Okay, and finally Afghanistan was another real challenge, which and for without Dev's I would say zeal and belief, enthusiasm, this wouldn't have been possible to continue for such a long time. And I think it's a great responsibility on our shoulder to do this. And I was very moved, Ali. I read your piece. Thank you, Ali, for writing so passionately. And I think that is exactly what he, the point is, he's not an overtly political person. But I know with what kind of belief he held this idea of South Asian unity and a really love for people and not a belief in borders. It's that life can be across borders. Is one thing that Ali has written, that if you could just, it's actually a few kilometers, few hundred kilometers, and so if one could just move from Lahore to Delhi, from Dhaka to Calcutta, and like that, without any obstruction, as you can do in Europe. And he actually dreamt that, believed that this could be done. And as I'm saying, without any particular kind of overt political belief, that somebody could strongly believe this. At various stages of SESM, when things have come up, he's always told me, look, you will understand, we do SESM not just as a conference, not just as an academic thing, though we maintained academic standards. I was very keen about it. But still, the main thing is that solidarity, that should never go. That in the experience, the students come and become such close friends from different countries that people can't imagine. Okay, and how they see each other's reality when they go there. So that kind of thing, and that sort of used to really brighten his heart to see that friendship among the students, to see how long lasting a lot of these friendships have been over time. And to a teacher, that's an amazing thing, and was a great teacher. Not just as a classroom delivery, but the question is that of having this kind of bond with the student, and the way his student stood by. In the last moment, it was so strange. I just could take a glimpse of him and still was breathing, but he didn't allow us to do anything. Just so shocking that was. By the time I reached the hospital, it's almost over. So, but the way his students, all of them stood, it only shows what he meant to his students. And to a teacher, I don't think there is anything greater than getting that kind of love and affection from his students. I don't know, I have so many memories come back to my mind. I said I'm a 40-year-old, very close association with him, with his family, and very difficult. We have to, our letter resolve be to carry this forward with much more effort. We should not let this dissipate. And we obviously have to make a younger generation ready for this, and they're already there. And I also obviously want to share this grief with everybody here. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Shamudha. Mita, over to you, but I request now also Rupali, Apurva, and the new generation, second generation season to assist me actually to identify people who can talk. And also, I know there are many students, the season participants, they have joined. Please raise your hand, and I will actually give you the floor once we hear from our friends. So Apurva, I really need your help, and also others too. Mita, over to you, please, Mita.
Yeah, thank you, Salim, and thank you for organizing this. I'm just so devastated. I was on the phone with DKD at 11 in the morning, and at 2:30 that afternoon, Shomo called me to say that he'd had this heart attack. By the time we got to the while I was on the phone with him and we were talking, we were planning to take a holiday together and our families. And we were just discussing a couple of other things. And he interrupted the call and he said he'd call back in 5 minutes. But he never called back. I've really struggled to cope with it because DKD was among one of my best friends. So, he was someone who had, his affection was completely unconditional. It was completely non-judgmental. And about him, he was a good friend to me, but he was a good friend to almost everyone who's here. And listening to all of you, I just realized that that's what made him so special. He said to me very often that he enjoyed his academics, he enjoyed teaching, he enjoyed his research, but the thing that was closest to his heart was SESM. He said that on several occasions. what I enjoy doing the most is Sesam. And he had this ability to enthuse all of us to do what he wanted. Sometimes it was just this childlike belief that anything is possible. And at times it used to be exasperating because he would start something and then he would say that, this needs to be done and just do this. And the point is that all of us sort of rose to the occasion whenever he just had to ask for anything, and most of us would rise to the occasion and do it for him. I haven't come across another person who could enthuse such a wide variety of people in the same way. I think he's the one who and the other thing was he was continuously pushing at least me to do better, he arranged this summer course for me at LUMS. He sort of encouraged me to do that. I think a lot of my professional journey and a lot of my attitude to students, a lot of the way that I teach, a lot of my work attitude has been molded by DKD, because I started my first long teaching stint was at Ramjas while Mihir was away doing his PhD at Rutgers. And that was a very, very formative period for me. I'm still struggling to imagine a world without DKD in it. It's very tough for me. My heart goes out to Shoma and to the children. And I think we were all blessed to have him in our lives. And I think Shoma, the number of times that he was just so attached to the family and to the children. And I mean, those are things that, very often he would just pick up the phone, and if he needed to vent or he needed to rant about something, he would do that. And I think I'll miss that forever. And that's all I really don't think I want to say anything. But just to add this little bit, that he was very, very concerned about the future of Sesam. And he was very happy that we now have this second generation that we're calling it, Apurva, Rupali, Ali, and others who are taking Sesam on and taking it forward. So I think the only tribute that we can give him is to make sure that Sesam continues and grows from strength to strength. Thank you, Silly. Ali, I think there are a couple of people here, Mevesh and Marine.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe we should ask them.
Definitely. And that's what I really need your help because I may not be able to identify properly. I'll come back to them, of course. I know, Homagni, you were there, from very beginning of Sesam, and every other day, almost every other day, actually, DKD talked about you. I remember. Homagni, would like to say a few words, please.
Well, thank you, Salim sir. It's very, very difficult to put this in words. I feel like what to say and where to start, because if I have to talk about DKD sir, there is so much things to say. I mean, personally, he has been, and I have told this many times, when he was alive, he has been a friend, a philosopher, and a guide. He has looked after us. He has loved us unconditionally, as a parent would do to a child. He has been a mentor and guide. I think my entire professional journey has been shaped by him. Today I'm in the UK. He was the one who asked me, who advised me how to do a master's, how to do a PhD, and how to, steer an academic career. He has been a friend. I think his, continuous, unwavering support, someone who you can depend on. I spoke to him almost every week. I spoke to him the night before, on Thursday night. We were working on 2 projects. So he started off as a teacher, he's a friend, and now he's a collaborator and a co-author. And we were working on this project. So Thursday night, we had a meeting with the project team. And he said, call me back, Komagni, after the meeting is over, we'll speak at night. And we used to speak at night very often about everything. What's going on in your university, what's going on in your life. That friend, that parent. So he was everything. I think that is just irreplaceable. I think I haven't, yet, come to terms that, DKD sir is not here. I'm keep reading his emails. He would send me emails from time to time, telling me, you need to reflect on these things, what you have done and what you need to do. So I think, as many colleagues have said, he was a selfless man. He has given so much. And he's going to, leave this gap, I think, which can never be filled or replaced by anybody else or anything else. In terms of SAISM, I mean, I still remember we were in our first year in Ramjas College when he came back from his trip in Pakistan. And he told us, my students in Pakistan, so of course, we were very young at that time. And, after the Kargil war, as Ali has very nicely captured in his piece as well, we were a bit, some of us were a bit skeptical, like, okay, why did you go to Pakistan? And he said that his ideas of Pakistan were, well, the students are just like you guys. They talk about Bollywood, they talk about cricket, and they like food, just like what you guys do. There is no reason why you should, see them differently from what you read in your newspapers. I think in those initial formats, those were formative years for us. We were, I think, 19-year-old, at that time. He inculcated those, principles of how we need to celebrate pluralism, those principles of inclusiveness and being together. I think we all carry that, and SAISM is a testimony to that. He told us, it's not just Pakistan, let's do it in a big scale and bring it all of South Asia. And even though in that first SAISM, I think we didn't have Nepal and Bhutan, and they joined us in the following years, in our logo and in the branding of SAISM, he said we should have them right from the beginning, even Maldives and Afghanistan. And we will work. So he had the dream of bringing all these countries together under the SAISM umbrella, which he did. And he never, I think, he took each opportunity to teach us as well. In that organization of SAISM, he said, you need to be, I'll teach you what is division of labor. You can't all be doing the same things. And he really handed us departments to manage. The trust and confidence I think he had in us was just unbelievable. I think I would struggle to have that kind of trust and confidence in my students now that I am a teacher at times. I try to tell my students, I try to tell my colleagues, what DKD was as a teacher, because I think he just changed the definition of what being a teacher is. Now, we came from a very conventional, schooling background. So obviously we had this idea of what a teacher is, the hierarchical system we have. And I think DKD broke all those boundaries. And he said, you need to be a good individual. And he taught us to be good individuals. We have tried to become good individuals. I think we can't judge ourselves whether we are good or not, but I'm sure he will, steer us through that. I mean, I have so much to say about DKD. I think, but at the same time, I'm in loss of words, what to say and what not to say. But I think the gap he has left can never be failed. Seism, again, he had, as you all know, besides being a teacher, we have traveled together as well, TKD, Somadi, and we had this trip in Europe where we covered, I think, 8 countries in about 15 days. And he said, this is what I dream about Seism, that one day we'll be able to travel between Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, without anyone stopping us in the border. So I really look forward, in whatever way I can contribute to preserving Seism. He also said he was very keen in bringing, some association of UK and US, given the number of diaspora of these countries there are. So he was very keen on that. We have been discussing that for a very long time. He's truly the father of Seism movement, let's put it that way. So my tribute to DKD sir, I think, as I said, that gap cannot be filled, and my prayers so that his soul rests in peace. And my thoughts are with Somadi and the kids. We are with you, Somadi, forever. Thank you.
Thank you, Hamani. I will now go to Sanjay Katuria. Sanjay, I think you are here. Our association, the World Bank, has been there almost from the very beginning. And Sanjay was there for many years actually with us. And he closely worked with DKD. So Sanjay, over to you, please.
Yeah, thank you so much, Salim. It is, of course, like everybody else said, it's very shocking. Dev, Kusum, and I were exchanging emails pretty recently before this shocking news, and he had been prodding me to write something for the newsletter, which impending newsletter, and indeed, with his gentle prodding, I did finally send him something, and he said, "Yes, thank you so much," and we are going to it's postponed by a few weeks. But that was, I mentioned this because that was my most recent interaction. But as everybody has said, Dev was somebody whom you just could not help liking, right? There was this complete natural acknowledgement, his quiet demeanor, but his persistence and his everything. It was so infectious, and I was, for many years, as you all know, I was on the other side of the table as funding the Seism initiative. And as you all know, all of you founders and now the second generation, that this is such an initiative that I, as a passionate believer in South Asia, in the idea of South Asia, I do believe this is something this is a beautiful thing you all have created. And of course, Dev as a founding spirit, as well as the guiding light. When he came to us with requests, Sanjay, we're really short, we need such and such amount, we really need this last bit to plug the hole in the funding. And you couldn't but help try your best, right, to do that, given the kind of selfless place that it was coming from, right? It was, as Turab has said, Meher has said, it was not coming from anywhere from himself, right? It was for the cause, for the greater good. So I just think that it is a legacy, and as I have told all of you, Salim, in the past also in Kathmandu and so many other places, and it is such a legacy that I think I'm sure DKD didn't realize, and I'm not even sure all of you fully realize this kind of legacy, because as Kaushik talked about this Niels Bohr initiative, but I do believe this has the potential to become something like that, and play its role in the future. I have hope that this is whatever, if you want to call it a track to initiative. I mean, it's a students and teachers initiative, but in time, I really hope the products of this initiative, that is the SAISM alumni, as I keep telling them, they will be the future. In a few years, they will start playing important roles in South Asia, right? And I hope many of them will be contributing to the spirit of a One South Asia, as we had started calling it in the World Bank in 2014, or actually even earlier than that. So I just want to end by saying that the man infected everybody and me, and he was a very good friend, and we would catch up in Delhi whenever I did go there, which was quite often. And so please, I'm there. I will certainly want to help and do whatever I can to continue to support Dev's legacy. But I do think the most important part of the legacy is the students that are now coming out into the world and will be occupying influential positions. So to all of his very close friends and family, I do not know Shoma, but my sincere condolences to you and the children and the family. And I promise you that you will have a very strong body of enthusiastic people who will continue to support his very strong, this beautiful legacy that he has left for all of us. Thank you, Selim.
I'm blessed. Thank you. Blessed to be part of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Sanjay. While we were struggling to write anything, actually Ali came forward, and Ali wrote something, and I must be very much thankful to Ali. Ali, can you say a few words? I know it's a difficult time, but please.
I wrote because it's so difficult to speak, and I was just admiring the stiff upper lips that everyone kept. DKD was a force of nature. I think we can all agree on that. I've known very few people in my life who can create things with the energy and consistency that DKD can, and practically no one. And he was a force of nature who showed me the beauty of South Asia, the other side of South Asia, as Magni said and others have said. We grew up and we are still growing up in a region where things don't work well. And there are, to be fair, there are reasons also where we have to, keep our guards up also. But at the same time, he showed me the other side of this major adversary for Pakistan through history and even today. And it's very important, and I've told this story so many times now, of how there are people in India who think well of Pakistan, who don't really care about borders, basically, and that's been very valuable. And I think it's done a lot of good also for my students. So second generation affectees of Late Kusum Das. But in reflecting while others were speaking, I was thinking, what is a successful life? A successful life is one in which you establish very clear principles. And I was reflecting on the principles. I think the biggest principle that DKD gave me was humanity is without borders. Borders are political, humanity is natural. And you have to treat people on each side of any border like humans, and not just like humans, like friends, like relatives even. The other thing that he taught me, and this is very contrary to my own nature, it was that community comes before ambition, before personal ambition. And there's a deeper sort of philosophical wisdom to that, if you're going to focus on writing the next paper, which is typically which is often my next focus, then you're not creating a community. And if you're not creating a community, you're alone. So that was, he didn't care if a student had written a good paper or a bad paper. He cared about whether the student was there and conversing with people from other countries, and that was important. And the third thing was ambition, and I think for now, I think it would be befitting for his legacy for us to think, what is next for CISM? Do we just continue to convene as 5 or 6 countries when we can? Or like DKD, do we try to be restless and look for other things to do? And I think that's something that we're going to have to deal with. But ambition with humility and a higher virtue. So, excuse me, the interesting thing for me was that he earned, to my knowledge, no money from this enterprise ever. It was understood that we were doing this for students, and that was that, and that sort of creates a value that's irresistible. When I've negotiated with other parts of the World Bank for money for the Pakistan delegation, it's a very easy sell to say, I don't need money for me. I'm not taking my usual consulting rates. Just pay me for my students and get me to that place so we can convene and talk about peace in South Asia, and then people will line up to help. But to do all of that, but to do it with consistent effort and tremendous effort, I mean, I think it's easy to overlook the amount of effort it takes. And he did it without taking life too seriously, right? So sometimes I wondered if he did CISM for students or for us or South Asia, or if he did it because he wanted, because that was his trick to travel the world and enjoy a cup of tea in Colombo or Kathmandu or Lahore next time. So he'd say, "Agli dafa kahan mil rahe hain?" Right? That was his. It was not, okay, which country is next in line, which of course he dealt with in more serious times. But at the end of every CISM, it was, "Agli dafa wahan jayenge, agli dafa ye karenge." Right? It was all very visceral and very from the heart. The other thing in a successful life is people, and I think so. Once you've got the principles, the people, and he was always adding more people, always pulling more people into his gravitational force or gravitational sphere. And he knew people so well. I mean, I just calculated that while we were on this call, I just calculated that my total time in contact with Kusum Das was less than 3 months. I first met him when I was about 19. So Magni was saying he was like a parent in some ways. He was like a friend, a brother. But in the sort of a collective of just 3 months, he made me feel like, I was special. And the amazing thing was reading all of these other obits coming in where other people were saying, the same or more, obviously, the people he touched more. So that was, to me, really touching. And for the last 10 years, he'd been drilling in me what Samuel and Salim have said earlier, that the next generation has to come up. The next generation has to come up. You're not working. So he died kind of angry with me. And that's disturbing usually. But the reason I'm not disturbed is because this was our usual annual dance. Like he would get angry, Ali, you're not working on this. And I would always think, DKD is there. I'll do whatever I have to do. But, he was sambhala hai unhone. And now, of course, it's up to us, to all of us. And the next generation can't do it without the support of all of you. And I think it'll be easier, inshallah, because to put a body in movement is hard the first time, but to keep it rolling is easier. And God willing, all of the gods of South Asia willing, we'll find a way to do what I believe in every culture, in every religion, is considered a good thing, which is peace. There's a lot more to say, but I think it would be a shame if he'd be upset. You haven't given students a chance to speak. And so perhaps we can go, and I don't know who would want to speak, as Salim Bhai said earlier. So if people would raise hands, if anyone would like to add anything, I think that might be a good way to go. And in sort of ending, my condolences. I wish I could be there with you and condole Somaji, you and the kids. I don't know how to do that, but at least we'd be together. Thank you.
Thank you, Ali. I know there are many SESAM participants, either old or new, or so like you were the kind of first generation SESAM participants. Now you have actually taken the responsibility to carry on this SESAM agenda forward as a faculty. I can see. Let's take some, if we can actually have some, hear from some students. Dipankar Agarwal.
Yeah, hi, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
So, I'm sure that many of you who know my relation with DKD is beyond the words that I can express, and about the conference, if I talk specifically about SESAM, I think this was started from our batch in Ramjas. And I know his conviction about SESAM, be it cross-border in terms of guidance, academic, leadership, politics, whatever, he had that conviction that, it has to be done. We were in doubt till the last moment, but it was only DKD, which could actually pull it through. This was very heart-rending about the way he went away. And I think it fills my heart for the contribution, not only to the SESAM and this the Southeast Asia, but in my personal life too. I remember an incident. I was in second year and my father got a heart attack, and he was in hospital at that time. The same hospital where DKD passed away, and he was there for throughout my exams for 2 weeks, staying at my place, making sure I study, and making sure I keep my calm. That is how big the personality was. Giving all, not only about the time. So I think there's no person who can fill the void of DKD, and I feel lucky to be a part of his life. And I really wish that, keep up his legacy, and we are children, and Shomadi, you will never face any dearth of it. Of course, we can't fill the gap, but there are many people who are looking to take care of the kids. Yeah, I'll rest my case with that.
Thank you, Dipankar. Thank you so much. May I now move to? I'll just move back and forth, inviting some of the senior participants, and then of course the younger and junior students one. So Jyoti Chandra Moni, if you are here. If you can unmute. Mavish.
I am here. Thank you so much. I'm just feeling very overwhelmed listening to everyone. And I don't want to take up time. I think, yes, DKD is listening from wherever he is and saying, put my students back on. So I just want to say, what a great man. I think he touched us all in ways that we can't quantify. And I think Ali put it well when he said, the total time that he was in contact was maybe 3 months. I think for me, maybe even less. The last time we met was a few years ago in Delhi. We agreed to meet either in Delhi or Hong Kong or Lahore. And it wasn't to be. So, but regardless of the time he spent with us, he made us feel so incredibly special and made us feel like part of a much bigger movement and working towards a much bigger goal. How many people do we come across in our lives who can make us feel like that, who are humble and kind and generous and so loved? So I'm just so grateful to have known him, to have had him in my life. And I also feel so grateful to be part of this call today and listen to all of you. I'm more in awe of DKD than ever before. He's left an indelible mark on this world.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'll definitely go to Gunajit, but before that, Mugdha, you are also one of the participants the very early years of SESAM.
Oh, thank you so much, Salim sir. So yeah, it's actually quite early, or you could say late in California. So I didn't sleep when I heard about this meeting for DKD sir, and I told Salim sir, well, whenever it is, I'll join. And it's worth it for so many reasons. Um, so in 2006, when I was just a student of the first year, I was a participant of SEISM, which was held in Dhaka. And then eventually in 2009, Salim sir and a bunch of us from Dhaka University, we hosted it in Dhaka in a grand manner, actually. And the time that we spent with DKT sir at in 2009, 2006, subsequently he would come to Dhaka to visit BIDS, my previous workstation in Sanim. Would have chats about so many things. And all through this 10, 12 years, while I was pursuing my PhD, I finished my PhD. Once in a while, DKT sir would keep in touch with us. I mean, those are the little things. Then again, as many of us say that in longevity or in times, maybe not long, but all those moments add up to something huge. I always feel DKD sir is parallel to SEISM, this idea of SEISM that he started, and we are very lucky to be part of it. And as Humagni said in his speech, that now a big diaspora of students who are SEISM alumni are in UK and US and other part of the world. And I think we should move forward. We should do something to keep this beautiful dream of integrated South Asia alive. And whatever we could do, we have to do it for DKD sir. Just on December 22nd, I received his email about in a write-up about Bangladesh on the newsletter. And it hurts me so bad that he would not be able to read that article that I started writing. But I hope he would be happy that, like me, from Bangladesh and 1,000 students, I would say, from South Asia, that he made us believe in a better South Asia. And we hope to continue that. Thank you, Salim sir, for giving me the opportunity to talk.
Thank you, Mugdha. I know because of the time constraint and also some of the other engagement, Valerie and Zoe from World Bank, they had to leave probably, but they put some notes on the chat box. I just want to read out Valerie's note. This is Valerie from World Bank Chief Economist's Office. I wanted to express my deep condolences to family and colleagues for the sudden loss of Dev. Like all, we were shocked by the news. His work and dedication for the regional integration to SEISM was invaluable. He made a major contribution, and we were honored to have been able to collaborate with him. We hope to be able to contribute to this legacy, and thanks him. She thanked us for organizing this. And Zoe, she also wrote that this is Joe, and like Valerie, I am with the World Bank South Asia Chief Economist Office. Having only known Dev for 6 months, since I joined the Chief Economist Office, I have nevertheless been deeply affected by his passion and dedication for the SEISM network and for regional integration, and by how down to earth he was. Just last month, we were talking about the next group research project after the award ceremony for the first GRP. Deepest condolences to Dev's friends and family for the sudden loss, and it is a loss to SEISM and a loss to us all. Carrying on his legacy, we hope to continue the collaboration with the SEISM network. I must thank our friends from World Bank to express their solidarity and their condolences. And now, Gunajit, please. Gunajit.
Thank you, Salim. I think it's as Humagni said. For me, I have known DKD sir, I think, more than half of my life, as a teacher, then as a mentor, as a collaborator. We worked together at the career, and then of course we were family. He was a family to me. This loss is a big loss. I have I don't know how to reflect on it. I don't know. Emotions keeps coming back. What the loss that I have felt. But I think a lot of people talked about his ambition. I think and the way he looked at life. I always reflect that DKD always looked at life as a big budget Bollywood movie. For him, it's always about it's big. It has to be not a small budget movie. It has to be a big budget movie. He never talks about it. So that's why I used to teach him this. Like, you always think about life as a Karan Johar movie, and I think that's how he lived, and that's how he aspired us to sort of dream big. And so and somehow, and I have been talking to Homagni, and we're reflecting on his life, and somehow you will feel that you are his favorite, because that's how he make you feel about it. Like, you'll feel, and in somehow he organically gets into your life without even realizing that he's part of your life. And then you realize, yeah, I am his most favorite. And then we, from our batch, we always have who is DKD's favorite. So that's how his nature. That's how he you become part of his life, then your family become part of your life, and then everything's become part, and he becomes part of your life. So for me, I when I these last few days, I always hear his voice about how he would call my name and call me every other week to talk about economics, talks about food, talks about how he will have his next meal at my home. uh, but I think for me, it's about and the opportunity he gave me to sort of realize what I can dream. And I think that's so important for me, because otherwise, I think some of us will be talking about is somehow without what we did not know, he knew about us, whether it is our own life, whether it is our career, whether it is, and to an extent, our our life partner. And there are so many stories about how many of us got our life partner because of him. So I think so just as Homagni said, there are so many things to talk about, and I guess we will keep meeting, we will keep engaging and keep discussing him. But I think his legacy will remain. As Ali said, we will continue walk towards fulfilling his dream. And because he made us our family, his family will be our for rest of our life. Thank you, Salim.
Thank you, Gunajit. May I request Navin Odhikari, if Navin, you are here, say a few words.
Yeah, Professor Salim, thank you so much. It's very hard to say and talk right now. I was disturbed for so many days actually when I hear that news, and finally some message came from the DKD's number, and then I have no choice but to believe that the news is actually true. So I just think, I just summarize my interaction with DKD in two parts. One is the professional one, where we are doing like SESAM things. I could remember I joined the SESAM in 2010 with Professor Pakurel. I met him in Colombo. And then, following the legacy of SESAM, then DKD is handling these, and DKD is, mentoring how to progress and so on. And then we were also in pressure that Nepal should host the conference. And then in that interaction, I found him very professional. He was suggesting, he was like writing the linking email with the World Bank, and then there are the colleagues from Nepal who are very much like interested to have that. They do have that capacity, sort of assurance. And not only that, like you furnish on this way, you design the program. So we have a very nice like a professional relationship with DKD. But what is more touching to me and for us, this is what is being reflected here, is the personal care. The message that I got on WhatsApp was when you were going for Switzerland for your PhD. He was caring, and then sometimes he would drop a message like how your kids are doing. And then sometimes he would be saying, oh, where is that kid is, going or doing. So that kind of, the personal thing. So he also had that ability to personally, engage with each other. And the very good fact is that this is what everybody feels. It's not only me, but everyone feels like that. what I feel is this is what the successful life is. Actually, so many people are here, so many generations are here, and this is what the successful, I mean, life is. So DKD had that virtue, and DKD will be, I mean, remember for that. And we were having like coming back to our I mean, responsibilities, where I had a very brief talk with Ali. Ali sent me a message that DKD is no more, but he was also highlighting that we should, I mean, we should take lead. We should work like the way the DKD used to work, because I also got like email from DKD that why Nepal is not participating when you have that every week meeting. I mean, that kind of care is there, and that responsibility lies on us. So I mean, true tribute to DKD will be that will be able to deliver what he dreams about SESAM. Thank you.
Thank you, Navin. I'm just checking whether Rajat Khaturia, he is with us in this Zoom. If I'm not wrong. Okay, I think no. So I will now go to Vijayta. Please, Vijayta, after you.
Hi.
Yes, after you, we'll go to Merin Tanvir.
Thank you for giving me this chance to speak about DKD, sir. I came to Ramjas in 2007, and he was on a study break at that time. But from the very first orientation in the eco department, we heard that there is one professor who's not here right now. His name is Dev Kusum Das, aka DKD, and he was so popular. People would just keep talking about him, seniors and all. And in 2008, we had the SESAM, which our college had organized. And at that time, I was not very involved. I was just a volunteer at SESAM. And my duty was to go and pick up the team from Pakistan from the airport. And that was a golden opportunity for me, because my grandparents and all, they migrated from Pakistan, and I always felt this. I've always felt this affinity towards the country, and I really didn't think in my wildest dreams that one can have such an opportunity. And there at the airport, Mr. Turab Hussain, he came in with his group. And the first thing he said was, "Where is the great DKD?" And I just can never forget this sentence, because I had really not known DKD, sir. And the very fact that this person comes and he's like, "Where is the great DKD?" It always like rings in my head. And ever since I heard this news, it's been ringing in my head even more. So all I just want to say is that SESAM gave me a friend for life from Pakistan. There was this girl, Amreen Athar, in that group. And she and I, back in 2007, there was only emails, and we kept in touch even after SESAM. And we always kept in touch when social media and all started, of course, then as well. And we met in London a couple of years ago. It was a great moment for us to meet after SESAM. And my research, I have done PhD from JNU. So my research also basically talks about nation state, migration, identities, and everything. So for me, I just want to say that I'm one person who has not really been personally very close to DKD, sir, ever. But my worldview and everything is so inspired by SESAM and the experience we got because of him, and his really larger than life personality, and that anything is possible. So just wanted to say that even people who were not so close to him or in touch with him, they have been very inspired by him, and that there's a lot of people like me. And my condolences to the family and the kids. And that's all. I will always remember him, because he won't even remember my name, I'm sure, but I will always remember him for the influence he's had in my life. Thank you.
Thank you, Vijayta. Merin Tanvir. You have to unmute.
Hello, everyone. I've not really prepared anything. I was going to come here, because ever since I heard the news, it's just been so hard to process it. It seemed so unreal. And I thought I'd find some sort of closure and kind of make sense of what's happened. And, you know, it's bittersweet because a lot of the people that I'm seeing here, the last time I was in a room with all these people, DKD was with us. And in fact, you know, he was the life of the room. This was, I participated in 2 sessions with DKD. And, you know, there's obviously the academic side of it, but, you know, there's the friendship side, which a lot of people have spoken about. And DKD truly was the life of that, right? He taught us so much that, you know, it's not just about ambition or profession or academics. There's so much more, like the soft side of Saism, the soft side of bringing people from different countries together, particularly South Asia, which is, you know, not the easiest of regions. And beyond Saism also, you know, I left the academic world some years ago and I moved to Washington, but DKD stayed in touch. And, you know, I went through some of the old messages on Facebook that we had exchanged. Every time he'd be in the US, it didn't matter what city, he would always reach out to see if there was some way that we could meet up, you know, somewhere. And, you know, his selfless friendship, like it's not like he expected something in return from you, or I could do anything for him, but his selfless friendship really meant so much. You know, there was a difficult time in my life when a family member was unwell and he had to travel to India. And, you know, without thinking, I reached out to DKD and Mihir, in fact, you know, both of them. You know, I just shot an email saying, you know, I wasn't able to travel. It was my brother, I couldn't travel with him. I said, he's coming to India. You know, do you have any guidance on where to stay? And, you know, they went out of their way, you know, to do whatever they could. And you know, to this day, I remember how selfless and warm and caring, you know, these friends that I made through Saism and DKD being, you know, the heart of that. So, like I was just saying to Meeta, that it was this magic of DKD that brought people together, and it kind of, you know, made you forget whether you're Indian or Pakistani or Bangladeshi or whatever, you know, it was that human side, like he embodied it so beautifully. Like he was a beautiful human being, and I think he brought the best out of everyone he met. And, you know, and this tribute just kind of shows that. So, you know, thank you for arranging this.
Thank you, Mariam. Ratul, Ahmed Ratul.
Thank you, sir. Well, I'd like to take this opportunity to share that, I mean, I'm one of the lucky ones, as many other South Asian economic student participants who have been, you know, like opportunity to participate in twice. I'm one of the mid-generation ones. So the Saism was already something that was already, I'm from Bangladesh. So I'm also from Dhaka University. So it was already a very hype thing when I went in the university. So when I was first given the opportunity, when I saw Selim sir and Deb Kusum sir for the first time, I mean, it was, I mean, very truly, it didn't dawn upon me that what an opportunity it was for me. But looking back in reflection, in retrospective, I can say now that those two were, as a student and as a Bangladeshi, for me, the first exposure to internationalism and pluralism, if I may put it that way. And this sort of opportunity for a South Asian in this time, and which is continuing successfully for so long, I believe is something to grab onto and to build upon. And I'd like to, I mean, my heartfelt condolences to the family, of course, but I'd also like to request Selim sir, Amir sir is here, and also the second generation of the organization as well. I'd like to just place this request that to explore any possibility that if, you know, some broader engagements could also be, you know, arranged in the future for alumni as well, so that the spirit of Deb Kusum sir and his fellow comrades in this vision of integrated South Asia through economics practice, professionally and academically, would go on. So that's my humble submission. Thank you for giving me the floor, sir.
Thank you, Ratul. I know that maybe, you know, many of you have some other engagements too, and we have already crossed more than 1.5 hours. I'm just checking whether if there is any other hand, but I would not really, I'll definitely at the end, towards the end, I'll go to Shoma Bodhi. But before that, I need to actually hear from two stalwarts of DKD, Apurva and Rupali. So before that, I'm just checking. Is there anyone else would like to say a few words now? Okay, Apurva, you first, and then I'll go to Rupali.
Thank you, Salim sir. My association with DKD sir, it's like on many fronts, but particularly related to SESM, I would say that it's only because of him that both Rupali and myself, we got the opportunity to be part of this entire SESM thing. And it was 2017 SESM in Kathmandu where we participated as faculty members. And he just left everything on us. He was like, okay, you handle it. It's your job, you handle it. So the kind of freedom that he has given to us to organize the things there, it was amazing. He was always there. Sometimes we think that, okay, now our phone will ring and it will be DKD sir saying ki Apurva ye kaam hua, tum Rupali ke saath milke ye kaam kar lena. And in fact, few days back only, he sent us a message saying ki for the newsletter, you have to do the write-up thing for the GRP thing. You have to do the write-up for the education group. And sometimes I believe like there's so many things that we have to do with him, so many collaborative work, and it's like all are in the pipeline. We have to do it. He is still there. I'm not able to sink in the feeling that he is not with us, but all his memories are there. And last time I met him, he said कि अपूर्वा तुम दौलत की चाट नहीं लाए मेरे लिए, next time when you come you have to get that thing for me. And I was really crying when I heard his news कि when will that next time will come that I'll get दौलत की चाट for him and his kids. And whenever we went to SESM, he always purchased a toy for both his kids, and he said कि अपूर्वा ये ठीक रहेगा बच्चों के लिए, ये ठीक रहेगा. So actually I cannot have words to, I cannot say much. Rupali, you please take over.
Thank you, Apurva. Rupali, please.
Really hoping that Apurva will go on for a little long so that I could prepare. Apurva, except that DKD sir used to call us very.
Rupali can't hear you well. Can Madhav hear Rupali?
No, sir, we can't hear Rupali. Rupali, we can't hear you. Yeah.
We were actually hearing, but suddenly it got disrupted. Okay. In the meantime, Mahatab, please. Then Rupali, you rejoin. Mahatab, what do you?
Sir, thank you so much. Actually, as a faculty member, as a country coordinator, I started being engaged with SESM since 2017, and it really breaks my heart, to talk about DKD on this forum, because where Shoma Bodhi is currently sitting, actually, we met countless of times during this pandemic on that same chair, and where we were discussing on the GRP and the SESM, the upcoming SESM, 70 SESM that is going to happen. Being organized by Pakistan. When Salim sir called me the evening with this bad news, actually I couldn't believe my ears. Just the day before of this news, 2 days before of this news, I got an email from DKD where he told me to put a write-up on Bangladesh at 50. I replied that, sure, sir, I'm going to send it ASAP. And then he told me, make it 500 words. I said, okay, sir. And then you see, he had such a vibrant voice and a commanding voice, like, you have to do it. And, sometimes during this pandemic time, we talked about how we can continue our Sesame spirit and what we can do, and we came up with the actually it was his idea to continue the GRP initiative and take it on. And we there were countless of times when he when we directly told us like do that or do that, you have to do it this way. And the one thing that you miss here is that he's that vibrant voice, like you always miss that. And this is one thing that some gaps never to be filled, and this is a loss that will always remain there. And I believe we will be able to we will continue his legacy of Sesame. No matter what, we will definitely continue it. If you call one thing truly South Asian, maybe Sesame is one of them. And we will ensure that it goes on and his legacy goes on. Our condolences and our prayers with him, and our condolences with his family. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Madhav. Rupali, you have rejoined, I think. Yeah.
Can you hear me? Am I audible now?
Yes.
So it's not going to be easy talking about DKD. We have spent a lot of time in the recent years. He was not a simple person. He was a phenomenon. And I first got to know him as a student when we were organizing in 2008, the Sesame. I was in Miranda House. So it was jointly organized by Miranda House and Ramjas. That's when I first got to know him, and my proper association with him began when I started my career with working in Ramjas College. And I remember that when I happened to mention him that I was part of Sesame as a student, it just felt, it became so comfortable that it was as if that we knew each other for a very long time. And he was so much senior to me, but he became so much like a friend that I would often forget that there's so much of an age gap. And I must say that everything that you hear so many people talking about, one really realizes that he was very good at maintaining relationships, investing in people and making them feel very special and important to him. And we would always meet, even when I shifted to another college, we would always meet and, talk about Sesame. He could never stop thinking about it. But particularly during the pandemic, he would make sure that he would call me every 2-3 days, ask me about, how are you managing, all the household chores. He would tell me that his domestic help is not there. There's so much work. Kids are not happy. They're not getting to play. They're always in their devices. He was very worried when Shoma ma'am had to go back to work, in person when the unlock process started. So he would call me every few days and, chat about, ask me how I was managing, and, tell me stories about how his kids are doing, what are his plans for the next 2-3 years. We would be struggling to finish our work, and he would have had plans for the next 2-3 years. He's also lived in my colony for some time. So we have had, other people, common people we knew, and somebody had passed away unexpectedly. And he called me up to talk about, to express the shock. And he was asking me if I knew that person was ill or not. And that was my first reaction when I heard the news about DKD's passing. I didn't want to believe. My first reaction was that this is something I would talk to DKD about, and he's not there. So it was very difficult dealing with that. And just 2 days before his death, we were talking about, second generation taking over, and how, at least in India, we would talk about that, that Apurva and I make a very great team. We have done a lot of work together. Planning a conference is an easy part, but, Sesame is so much more than just, looking at logistics and, planning a conference. And how the two of us are not there, in our careers, in our life, to, independently take over. So, even though our for previous generation, all four of them, DKD, Mihir, Meeta, and Shamoji, they may be ready to pass on the baton to us, but we are not ready to, independently take over and do everything without him. And that's how, it feels such a big loss for SESM. And I mean, we promise that we will, finish whatever he started and ensure that his SESM was like a baby to him, and ensure that, his child flourishes. And one thing that I would just want to say briefly about how, about SESM, what I've learned from him, that SESM was never about a competition for him. It was always connection and compassion, and competition was only a small part of everything. And whenever we have, organized something and organized a conference, he would say that, that you have to ensure that, there is no big country and small country in SESM. Everybody is at equal footing. And you have to ensure that no country is at a disadvantage or an advantage by design. And I thought that was just a, beautiful thought. And we'll keep his teachings in mind and ensure that SESM continues to flourish. We'll miss him a lot. There is nothing can fill the void that he has created, and we'll get there. We will in India, Purva, and I can confidently say that we have been trained by him, and there was a lot to learn from him. But yeah, we'll ensure that everything that he dreamt of is, continues and comes true.
Thank you, Rupali.
Salim.
Yes, Chaudhary.
Can I come in for a few minutes?
Yes, before that, may I give the floor to Raghav Mathur? He raised the hand first. Okay. Then I'll come to you.
Okay,
yes.
Thank you.
Yes, sure, of course.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Raghav. I am DKD sir's student, graduate of from the year 2002 to 2005 in Ramjas Economics. So I joined Ramjas quite possibly because of DKD sir. When we were, I quite fondly recollect, we were giving the entrance exam, and then DKD sir's booming voice came in through. That almost gave me an inspiration to write the exam better. And I was, I think I owe a lot to DKD sir for helping me ease into the tough Ramjas college hostel, also very as a as a new person in the college and so on. So DKD sir has been a huge mentor, and I think not just to me, but to a lot of the Ramjas student body. He was the mentor, and I think we all had a fatherly figure in him. We have spent countless visits. We have made countless visits to his place. We went to his marriage to Kolkata. We have massive fond memories about DKD sir, and just the warmth and the compassion that he had for everybody. He understood people. He understood issues in a certain sense of depth and breadth as well. So my heartfelt condolences for the family. I think I owe a lot of whatever I have done in my life to DKD sir's mentorship and guidance. Thank you.
Thank you, Raghav. Athanuda, what do you?
Yes. I am perhaps the person who had known him for one of the longest time, because I remember seeing him in my Montessori school in Guwahati. That's how I remember him, just crying, because I came to know that he had lost his father and he was with his aunt. Aunt was a teacher of ours. It wasn't very close at that time. We studied at Don Bosco School. We passed out in '77. And we met at Cotton College, where we had eco stats maths, and we became the closest friends. And I used to take my transistor, and he was very eagerly, we would listen to the commentary in between. Then later on, he moved to Kolkata, and thereafter, I came to know that he went to Delhi and became a lecturer there. Then our association again began, and I am one of the happiest to see his achievements and how he has made for his thoughts for one united South Asia. And he had come down to Guwahati. He gave a lecture at my college in December 2002. And thereafter, next year, I came to know that he was into this formation of the SESM. In 2004, he invited us, and from our part, St. Edmunds from Shillong and Pragyotis College participated. I found his association and how he had managed. I remember very early in 2004, Homagni came to take us to the hotel. And last year, when we had very difficult times, when we organized a webinar, he roped in Homagni again as a resource person. He always felt for this part of the world and always talked with me. And it was he who suggested the topic, Assam's development lag, challenges and way forward. Even though he was there and thinking about on South Asia, whenever he had time, he talked to me for almost half an hour. And on this year, on 3rd of December, he gave me a message that why not you come up Delhi and we can go for a visit to Jim Corbett or some other place. Then initially I agreed, then I became apprehensive and I didn't have the courage to say that we were apprehensive because last year I was in hospital down with COVID. It took me a few days. I told him and he told me that it was his kids, he wanted to take them out. And we were also ready and we wanted to go and I would be staying at his house. But we talked on 17 December, that's what I found. Then on 24th, when I got the news, I was shocked, shell-shocked. And the friends here, they knew that I was very close to him. They gave me the message that they could see it on Facebook. Then after some time, I talked with Mihir. And the first words Mihir told me was, Otono, it's confirmed. Then actually, I was just about to go to a birthday party and I was speechless. But I'm very happy that what he has achieved, what he has brought people together. And I also told him that I had written an article on my visit to Bangladesh and about the 50 years celebration. Then he immediately told me that you send it to me. We would publish it in a newsletter. I'm still thinking about it. I'm very happy that I have been given an opportunity to say a few words. I pray for so that his soul rests in peace and we keep his legacy alive. Thank you.
Thank you, Atanuda. I'm just checking, finally checking whether if there is anyone else who'd like to say a few words. I think.
Salim, will any of the younger people say anything? The younger batches of students.
That's what I'm checking, Shumuda. If
Rohit James wrote something. Rohit, you want to say something?
Yes, please.
Sure, I don't mind. My voice really breaks because I knew DKD sir from the 2016-17 year when it was initially planned for India and then the Uri attacks happened and there was so much confusion, there was so much uncertainty and we finally pulled off in Nepal. And I still think about how I still remember him with a very, very pleasant smile. And he like the whole Nepal trip was as if nothing had really happened. Like he wouldn't let anything come in the way of having SESM. It was to go uninterrupted, and it's really heartbreaking to see how we have got on a break like this. And I've been literally after Rupali ma'am every single year saying, we're gonna barge into one of these sessions one time as alumni and show it up. And it's really sad that we had to convene yet another time to think about TKD sir with him not being around. It's really, really heartbreaking. I think the best tribute that we can give as the last generation of the recent generation of scholars is to get more people involved in the SESM, the tribute, and pay him a rich tribute by getting more people involved, spread his message, and be truly believe in the South Asian Brotherhood make friends, because I think that's what he was at heart, and that's what he would have wanted from the whole SESM program. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Rohit. Anyone else? I can see that some of you have already written on the chat box. I can assure you that we are all actually keeping records of these comments, and we'll put these things together. And today's discussions have also been recorded, and we'll plan something, how we can present this discussion. I can see Ipshita Pal, you are here. You are also the among the very first set of SESM participants. Ipshita, would like to say a few words?
Yes, I'm not switching my video on. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much for organizing this. As many of my friends have mentioned, SESM really gave us a huge opportunity to be part of something bigger than ourselves. And as Ali also mentioned, it was, it came about for us. It seemed like it came about not only as a brainchild, but also as a product of love. When he came back from Pakistan, he was in love with the LUM students, and he wanted us to meet them. He was saying exactly that these are kids that are just like you. They are all about Bollywood and cricket and just life, growing up, learning, meeting people, making friends, falling in love. DKD, as Gunajit also mentioned, DKD led life like a Bollywood drama, big budget Bollywood drama. And he saw that in everybody's life. When you're with DKD, you start to imagine your own life like a big budget Bollywood movie. And that's how SESM came about for me. We were all part of creating this big budget Bollywood movie, because now when I think back, I am an undergraduate professor myself. I cannot imagine the kinds of responsibility, the kind of faith that he put on us. And it was amazing. And as everyone's been mentioning, he's been in touch with so many people. I was just thinking, how many hours a day did he have? Because if you're talking to him, he's just completely openly sharing and asking about you, and there's, time is going on, and he's been that deeply involved in so many people's lives. The last time I met him, he was here. I'm in New York, and I took him to see a Broadway show. I was like, this is the best approximation to Bollywood that I can give you, and he loved it. And so that was my last interaction with him in person, and it was before COVID. But yeah, he will always be a huge part of our journey. He has been, and he will continue to be. And I am amazed that there's so many of us that he has touched so deeply. Thank you very much for organizing this, Salim sir. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Ipshita. Resham Thapa, please. Resham, you have to unmute.
Thank you, Dr. Salim. Everybody knows I'm from TU, Kirtipur, Kathmandu. Then it's already, my colleagues already expressed our heartfelt condolences to DKD. He's a da for us. He's a brother for us. And there are not a single kind of our tea breaks and coffee breaks, me and other colleagues, then DKD and SESM doesn't come in our table. That's how this SESM is rooted in our university, in table, in curriculum, in classroom, and everywhere. And a man comes in the background of everything, what we learned and what our kids, our students are really learning. And we should thank SESM and DKD. One interesting incident happened in last year, a couple of times, this how big is SESM and how large network, DKD's leadership has created globally was like, wherever we go, even in the economist conferences in America, in England, in some of the European parts, then we can see people there, and they say, proudly they say we learned these things from SEJAM, and DKD comes there. The last development economics conferences, in even Kaushik Basu was really talking about it, and I was amazed that he was so keen to talk about SEJAM and DKD again. And this is what this SEJAM and true South Asian connection and regional capacity development at grassroots was developed. And it's the backbone, really the backbone was DKD. He was never like an outsider for us. Basically two person, I should remember Salim as well. Salim and DKD, we never felt that they are not from Nepal. Whenever we meet, wherever we meet, they know more, they know Nepal more than us. And that's how they were so lovely, the learned person, down to earth, and really, really true Sarkist, I would say. And just not, making things short, heartfelt condolences to Madam and kids. And it's a great loss for this region indeed. Then as other my colleagues and my friends already assured, then me personally and as an institution in my department as well, and my friend Naveen is there, and our great professor Pakural is also here. Then we'll do our best, whatever we can, keep up with the legacy of the SEJAM and legacy of the DKD. And that's my commitment, I would say. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Resham. I think we can now kind of wrap up, but before that, I'd like to just read some of the comments made by our participants. Shakshi Bradwas wrote, I am a Ramjas alumnus now pursuing a PhD in economics in the US. Whenever South Asian economic students meet, we always recall and connect to SEJAM memories and lovely people who will be missed DKD. KK Bhagat, heartful condolences, very sad. May God all strength to the family. Rest in peace. Akbar Farhan, this is Mohammad Akbar Farhan, and I have newly joined SEJAM family. I think you are from Afghanistan, if I'm not wrong. That is my privilege to join this session, and I have heard about Professor DKD, who had dedicated his life to South Asian integration. I put my condolences to his great family and SEJAM family. Due to poor network connectivity, I can't stay up to them, and he actually thanked us. Then Hilda Katuria, may Almighty give Shoma and kids to go through this time. These times, I was shocked to hear about him. I worked in ICRIER, and he was a wonderful person with a smiling face, a wonderful human being. May his soul rest in peace. Sirimal, he had to leave. Rohit, he also spoke. Mukulika Banerjee, hello everyone. I'm an old friend from Delhi school days and live in London. There was one of the few friends from uni days who had stayed in touch most of these intervening years. Hello to Mihir and Vinita, whom I can see here. My sincere condolences to their family and to all his friends, colleagues, and students here. Best wishes. And then Snitha Dewal, it was heartwarming to hear everyone's memories of DKD sir. His impact and legacy was immense. As part of the first SEJAM batch, DKD sir gave us an opportunity to go beyond our borders and make lasting friendships across the region. I will miss his love for life and joy and warmth. Rest in peace, sir. Kshitish Rai, I think the Winter Economics Conference was the wild brainchild predecessor of SEJAM in 2002. That's how I got to know DKD, wild because nobody in their right mind could imagine that a purely academic conference could be pulled off in DU. But he made it happen. He brought out the best in us. He was the foundation of my professional career as a manager and injected me with confidence that serves me till today. DKD was a friend and a father figure. Thank you, DKD. I think these are wonderful words from SEJAM participants. Taha Ibrahim, you raised hand. Taha.
I'm pretty new to SEJAM. I'm this year's participant of SEJAM. I got to know, I had a fleeting meet with Sir DKD sir, and when I got to know that DKD sir is someone who had thought about SEJAM, I thought that it's important to attend and know about such a person who is such a visionary. First of all, heartfelt condolences to Soma ma'am. I know, like, Siazam is one thing that when I participated in, Rohit was the one that told it's an amazing conference, and he told that you have to think beyond borders. You have to think about the problems that are in Pakistan, that are in Dhaka, not just in Delhi. What I think is that when we have a conference like this, we have a dream that might be someday I might conduct the field research that I've conducted in Delhi. I might try to conduct in Lahore, and our problems, we are quite different. We have a different history, and we have a long history, and we have a conflict because of that. But I think someday we have a lot of problems that are common, and understanding and knowing each other through these conferences might help solve a lot of those problems. Thank you, and heartfelt condolences to Sova.
Thank you, Taha. There were some comments in the Facebook also. So I just read one comment by PM Matthew. Condolence to Dikri's family, the Ramdas community, and the Sesam Network. DKD was a visionary and an institution builder. Sesam, founded by him, has the potential to be a game changer in bettering Pan-Asian regional cooperation. I think PM Matthew from Toronto, he wrote, and I'm just checking whether we have any kind of last. Arnab Deshpande got to know DKD in the 2018 season. I was an outsider to the DU system, and I guess on account of that, slightly intimidated. DKD was very kind and encouraging on several occasions in that conference. Had the chance to see him once at the school later on. Thank you for this very heartwarming meeting. And I think, okay, so I think Kshitish Rai, he also invited to reach out to him and he's given his number, and just checking. Okay, Akshat Agarwal, DKD had huge influence on my formative figures in college. I joined Ramdas in 2007 and he took a couple of courses for us. But more than this, it's my association with him through Sesam. I was part of the organizing team in 2008. I participated in 2009 and again in 2011, organizing 2011. The experience of being involved in Sesam, meeting people and organizing events repeatedly influenced the personality hugely. I was not in touch with him for around 6-7 years now, but I would always remember his childish smile and infectious enthusiasm. He used to often so lovingly talk about his experience of teaching at LAMS and how that led to the idea of Sesam. I'll miss him, and my condolences to Shroma and kids. I think I must thank all those who have expressed your feelings, but I think now is the time to go to Shoma Bodhi. It's very hard time, we know, but on behalf of each of us, I can tell you that we are all with you. Shoma Bodhi, over to you.
What an amazing journey it has been for me. With this man, you all call DKD. 18 years, first as his girlfriend, then his wife, then the mother of his children, and now living by memories, beautiful memories. Some of the torchbearers of Sesam here, Gunajit, Homagni, Dipankar, Raghav, and these two beautiful girls, Ipshita and Snigdha. I've known them as teenagers. They came into my life as boys and girls, and I've seen these boys grow into fantastic men. Gunajit, Homagni, Dipankar, what fantastic men you've grown into, and what fantastic souls with such strong backbones. You make me so proud of my association with you, and blessed that this man called DKD was part of my life. Colleagues and friends, Mihir, Mita, Shomo, blessed that you're part of my life. His last few hours were extremely tragic. But I just had the satisfaction that I was by his side from about 11:30 till about 12, till about 6 o'clock in the evening on Christmas Eve. He was in his senses. He was in great pain. He kept asking me, will I live? And I said, yes, you would. I'd take you back home. But clearly that was not what was meant for him, for me, for all of us. The doctors and escorts knew that it's a gone case. But still I said, let's give it a try for the sake of my children. But he was tough. He was technically gone at 11:30 when he lost his blood pressure, but he was still alive. He was absolutely aware of what's happening around him. He told me where his iCard was. He told me where his medical cards were. He was absolutely alive. He roared in pain. And every time he roared in pain, the doctors just gave him a shot to calm him down. I don't think he even realized that he was sinking. He probably thought it was like all the crazy Bollywood scripts that he has been thinking of writing, that he'll stand up, that he'll walk out. But that was not to be. What shall I say? He looked upon himself as a hero. Now it dawns on me. A hero in romance, a hero at work, a hero in life. He's given me one big romance to live the rest of my days by. But yes, but for SESM, I remember I was there in the very first SESM, which was there at Ramjas College. Dr. Rajendra Prasad was the principal then, and I was his girlfriend then. And Rajendra Prasad sent his car to pick me up. And when I went there was this big, beautiful bouquet which was there for me, which later I was told that probably Dipankar had brought from somewhere with those lilies which came they were lilies, I think, which came from Bangkok or someplace. It was easy to get those flowers then. They're difficult to get them now. And walking into Ramjas and meeting trust members, Ramjas board, I think they were board or trust members. It was such an awesome feeling. And then, of course, and each and every SESM in all the different countries, friends from across the borders, Turab, Manaz, Shiramal, you, Salim. The more I speak of it, the more it's like it's just there. But yeah, I think I've grown because of this man. I come from a totally different world. I come from the world of publishing, where the relations are different. Relations have a very commercial angle. You enter into relations because of expected business, but his world was absolutely different. It was love, love, and more love. He loved. He showed love. He gave love. He had such a big heart. He didn't think twice before giving love. I've grown because of him. Over the past few days, it's been 6 days now. Today's 30th. He died on 24th. There's just one song which keeps coming back to me over and over again. And it is the song called Main Hoon Hero Tera, from the film Hero, sung by Salman Khan. If you listen to that song, you'll realize it's so much like exactly what Devu was all about. The lyrics of the song are such that it's like, you know, that I'm muted and I consider myself helpless. So kis haq se kahu ki main hero tera. But that's what he really was. He was so inspired by Bollywood that he made himself a larger than life phenomenon to deal with. And now, probably that's how we have to live, by the virtue of all his memories and trying and living up to his ideals. Sesam, yes, was his passion. He, a very senior professor once said to him, why take this? I mean, what's this big deal about Sesam? He was so furious. He refused to talk to that professor again and said, how dare he say something like that? It's my passion. Just because I don't earn money out of it, it doesn't mean that I'm going to give it up. It's my passion. It's something which I live by. And he loved traveling. So while I do think that the whole ideology of having people across borders think alike, clicked in his mind, which is why probably the whole idea of Sesam was born. But it was also the whole idea of being a Marco Polo across the zone. I think Ali Hassan mentioned that whether it was economics or whether it was the idea of traveling that Sesam clicked, I think it was both. He loved to be with people. He was a great one for partying, great one for organizing dinners, great one for shopping. He just wanted people to be around him all the time. So Sesam, yes, 18 long years. It's been 18 long years. 2003, I think, was your first conference. And today it's 2021. And the community has grown. I'm there. My heart is open for all of you. You can get in touch with me at any point of time. I love you as much as I can. I'll try and match up to DKD's love for all of you in my own humble ways, but I'm there. Keep in touch.
Thank you, Shama Bodhi. I remember.
Shall we just listen to that song? Can I play my phone? Can I play that song on my phone? You'll remember. I mean, you listen. Can I?
Of course, please do.
I've been listening to this song for the past few days, over and over and over again.
Shoma, we'd love to, please.
Huh?
Please, yes.
It's just coming on.
If you can make it closer to the microphone. the microphone of your laptop. Yes, come here.
That's what it was. He thought of himself as larger than life and he made himself larger than life. But he had to do it, but it happened in death. But I'm there. My heart is open to all of you. I love you as much as I can, in my own humble ways. Keep in touch, all of you. God bless.
Bodhi. We are with you too, and we don't want to really feel that, you know, though DKD left us so early, you know, and we will be detached from you, and the whole Sesam family is actually with you. And I know that there are many things have been talked, but I want to finish with a kind of little bit on touching his one another aspect. He had love for food. He actually, wherever he went, you know, he used to explore different kinds of food. In Dhaka, I know Anjan is here from Sanem. He always will check with Anjan whether the kachi biryani is there, you know, right way, or what is the best kachi biryani, what is the best sweet. I remember in one of my visits to Delhi, and that evening was, I landed in the afternoon, and the evening was the birthday of your kids. I can't remember which year was that. So Debuda was checking with me, Selim, what sweets you are bringing for me? So I was trying to find his most preferred sweets from airport. And I actually, after reaching Delhi from the hotel, I went straight to your place. And there was a birthday party actually in the lawn, there. So, and while I was giving the sweets to him, and he was saying, I don't tell Shoma, I'll keep it myself. I said, no way, no way. I know that you should not eat too much of sweets, so we need to inform Bodhi. So I remember I went up again with him with the lift and put that sweets back to the table on the dining table, and then we went down again, back to the birthday party. We'll miss him terribly. It's no words can actually explain how much we'd miss him in the days, and each and every moment of whenever we organize SESAM, and we'll definitely come up with something. I know that will be so tiny, compared to, what DKD was, but we'll come up with something like, to remember him in each of the SESAM events, in the forthcoming events. So I'll stop here. And again, I thank you all on behalf of the SESAM family to attend this session. And thank you once again. Thank you.
Thank you, Salim, for organizing this so well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Salim, for doing this for us also. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Salim, and
Thank you, Tula.
deepest condolences and love to the show.
Thank you, sir, for arranging this. All my best wishes.
Thank you.